Hi, Dina.
Hi, Dana.
Sandra, you gave me a little mini heart attack there.
No, no, don't.
I was like, where is she? Where is she? How are you?
Good, good.
Good. Amazing. Let's wait a few
How
more.
is Tokyo?
It was snowing today. It was amazing. It was yesterday was a beautiful warm day. I was just wearing a mies, regular linen shirt yesterday, and then today it was snowing. And I love snow. So it was a very, very pleasant surprise for me. Um, but other than that, uh we're just waiting for the baby. Everything's ready. We're just,
Aw.
you know what it's like. Yeah. Yeah, she's ready. She's ready to pop. You know that feeling at the end. You just
Yeah.
just need to deliver. That's what she's feeling now, but any day. It could be tomorrow, it could be another 2 weeks. So
Aw.
just being patient with it. Let me just make sure. Let me check Facebook.
Mariana is asking about the link, I think.
1 second. Where is the link? No, it's the same one. She not able to get through?
Maybe you need to send her the link again?
Hang on, yeah, let me see if I can get it from here. Let me see if I can get it from my Zoom. I'm afraid if I click something, the meeting will end. Hang on. Where do I find it? Hmm. Oh, here we go. Meeting information. Okay, got it. Copy link. Did you need a passcode, ladies?
Yes, it's a 407512.
Two, yeah. Okay, she should be okay. Here we go. Hi, Amal. All right. I think we're just waiting for Marianne, and that should be it. There she is. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Marianne. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. And yourself?
I'm good. Alhamdulillah. All good.
How how's your daughter?
She's good. She's ready to pop. We're just waiting.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Yes. All right, ladies. Sandra is leading us today. So, Sandra, take it away.
All right. Did you guys get to finish the book or not yet?
Yes.
Okay. Marianne, what about you?
Yes, I have. It
All
was a
right. Did
very
you?
long. It was a very, how do you say, a big book.
Big book. Yes.
It
Very
is
big.
a good book. Like actually, I was thinking like for today, like I mean, I have to do it in parts because like we cannot discuss it just like as one big, like one book. So um, I enjoyed it to be honest.
Mm.
Just, of course, I have so many questions, so I'm glad we did it as a part of a book club because I have a lot of questions about the characters and things like that. But first, who else is here? Okay, Amel and Dina. Okay, and hi Dina, hi Amel. I wanted to ask you guys about the books. So, do you like how did you find like Samuel and Cyrus? They differed because this is like in part one, he described the scenery and then he took us like the East Coast and West Coast, and then he started to describe the life of Samuel and Cyrus. So, how did this affect their families and their personalities? How did they affect their kids? What do you guys think? Do you remember that part or not? Not really. Maybe it was a long time ago.
Was at the very beginning of the book. Yeah.
Yeah.
700 pages ago.
I started with a
Um,
family tree.
Mm.
oh, you did the
Act,
family tree?
yes, of the two families.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, Hamiltons. I mean, it's two families. The Hamiltons and Cyrus Trask.
Mhm.
The Hamiltons. Well, he had many children, and Cyrus had two, Adam and Charles, if I got
Yes.
it correctly. And then
Yes, yes.
Samuel had George, who was married to Mammy Dempsey, Will married to Delia, Tom. Um, uh, I think he gave his sister some kind of wrong medicine, and then she died. And then there's Joseph. And
Yeah.
what else?
But at the
Uh,
beginning, Tom, he didn't, he tried to cure his sister's tongue. So he used his pocket knife to do it. But she wasn't dead. She was still alive. The other part is still at the end of it, like towards the third part.
yeah, with the wrong salts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um, well, in general, I mean, if I can say something,
Of course.
um,
Mm.
it reminded me, in the Bible we have the story of Cain and Habil, and
Yeah, Cain and Abel.
um, somehow it went with me throughout the whole book. I mean, um, uh, first we have Samuel and Cyrus, and Samuel, in my opinion, was, let's say, the good guy, and Cyrus, he was half the good guy, or not the good guy. And then Cyrus had the two sons, Adam and Charles, and here too, it's a bit like uh, the one son is the good one, and the other one was uh, the mischievous one. And then Adam himself, he also got two sons, the Caleb and Aaron. And Aaron, we could say he was the good one, and Caleb was uh, the mischievous one. So, I mean, in general, for me, it is something between the good and the evil in this world, and it keeps on repeating itself from generation to generation.
Yeah.
So, in summary,
No, yes, you're right. It did touch on the Cain and Abel story, and like I wonder why was like, I mean, he wasn't trying to actually like to say that this is his reference and this is like he's comparing the generations and different boys to that story. Like I mean, like he was putting it out there, even like he added some of the passages and they talked about it openly. Like I mean, what was the connection like between like the story of Cain and Abel and, for example, Adam and Charles? What was the connection there? What do you think, Marianne or Amal or Dina, Rania?
well, I mean, I don't say it as, how can I say? I mean, in every family, you have the good guys and the less good guys, or the bad guys. So, I mean, in his book or in the book of uh, in the book, I I mean, I don't really know why he related everything with the two brothers from the Bible.
Hmm. I read actually Cain and Abel again. It made me go back and read it. And we actually don't know that before the killing, like there's no reference that who was good and who was bad. Like I mean, it's all. I think we did that. We filled these gaps. Even in the story, I mean, who said that Charles is bad and Adam is good? I mean, they both make mistakes. It's just I feel like it's us who are adding these to the story because this is how we're used to things. Like in all the stories about like the even the animation movies, we have the good and the bad. So this is how
Yes. Mhm.
our mind work. But I feel like in this book, the author tried to say like I mean like we all have the good and the bad in us. They're not two separate characters. Um, Even that's why I was a little bit confused with the character Kathy. He tried to make it her all bad at the beginning, and then towards the end, it's like he couldn't make up his mind. Like, I mean, should I make her good a little bit, or just like proceed with the bad? But other than Kathy, in all the characters, there was a mix. Like you could never tell if, for example, the trust the dad was he good? Was he like sometimes he's like too harsh on his kids, and then he would go out and talk with his kid, and he was gentle. Like I mean, like there was a mix for me. Like all the characters has these mix. Did you guys notice that?
Mm. For me, I think the reference to Cain and Abel is just because they were the original family, right? You had Adam and Eve and you had Cain and Abel, and they were sort of the original source of family conflict, the original source of good and evil. I don't know if Steinbeck intentionally wanted to create these references. Um, he might have, to say that partly maybe to show that these inherent characteristics, whether good or bad, stem from the very origin of humans and have just continued with us. And this is the shared human experience that you're always going to have the struggle between evil and good, the struggle of, discovering who you are, the struggle of figuring out your identity. Love, like the theme of love is just everywhere, passion and love. So he might have intentionally done that. And even if he didn't, we can't help but compare it because they were still the original. It's our everybody's first reference of the fight between good and evil. But I think in this book, what he does is, I think in the original, I think in Cain and Abel, Cain was just, he didn't have a choice, if I remember correctly. He was just cast out. Like he didn't have the opportunity to redeem himself, I think, or make a better choice, if I remember correctly. Like it was just a done deal. You're evil, you're horrible, go away. But I think in here, with the different characters, he creates them in such a way, and there's like, the character development and the very detailed, you get in you get in their head, you get in their thoughts, you get in their feelings to show the inner struggle of deciding of whether you want to be good or evil. Like it first, and I think you can see that some people choose, they struggle, and sometimes they make bad choices, and sometimes they make better choices, and sometimes they make choices they think are good that turn against them, and vice versa. But I think he's showing you that it's it's not anymore. You know how we always talk about generation, or anyway, I talk about breaking generational patterns of health, that not just because you you have heart disease or you have diabetes or have whatever condition in your family tree means that you're going to get it. You have a choice if you want to. You can break that generational pattern when it comes to health. I think what he's saying is that you can break the generational pattern of evil if you want. If everybody in your family has low morals, and or low or even poor education, or um, anything that you don't want to repeat. I think he's saying you have a choice, and he's showing us the
Yeah.
struggle to be able to make that choice that might be completely different than what you grew up seeing or what you had as an example in your life. That's what it was for me, I think.
And Cain, even Cain had the choice. Like, I mean, like,
Oh
even
yeah.
the passage added in the book, the word that they like. So that's why Lee, like, what he was trying to explain to Samuel and to Adam is how the word differs in Hebrew than in the English translations. Because in the English translation, it says, you shall uh, overcome the sin. And then Lee said that he went back to the Hebrew translation, and the right translation is you may
Hey,
overcome, like you
yeah.
have the option to do
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
And that's what God said to Cain, that you're about to commit a sin, but you may overcome it, you may conquer it.
Mm,
But he didn't listen, and that's when he went out
okay.
with his brother, on his brother. But I mean, even in the middle of the story, like the author, he did mention, like trying to find someone to blame or someone to put your anger on. Like, I mean, this happened so many times throughout the book. Like, for example, I mean, like when the dad refused the gift, he took it out on Adam. When the Hamilton, they were all there, and then they felt bad for the dad growing up. They didn't know where to put their feelings, so they put it on Tom.
Mm,
And so that was something that he showed in the book as well. For me, I try to think of, like, for me, like during the stories, like some questions were not answered for me. I don't know if the author meant it that way. So we, like, you can discuss it, or I mean, like, you can just think about it on your own. I mean, like, for example, he would say things like when Charles was writing to his brother, he, like, we didn't know why the Charles was more open when he was writing versus like in real life, and why Adam kept one of his letters, which was Charles said he won't send it away, but we don't know anything about that letter later on. No reference to that letter. So I was wondering, actually, while reading, I thought maybe later on he would say that the mom is the one who sent it, like, or Charles will be surprised that it was actually sent to his brother. Something about that. Do you guys remember that part about that letter? About Charles, like, explaining things more true about himself. Do you guys remember that part?
Finished the whole book, so I'm just listening, and maybe adding a few things, but I haven't finished it all, so maybe that's why I'm
But don't worry,
silent.
this is part one. We're still like
Oh,
we're
okay.
still in part
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Do you remember that part, Rania? Like, I mean, like when Adam went to war and Charles started to write him letters and he was opening up to his brother.
For me, while I was reading the story, where the part that I read, I was also a bit, like you had mentioned, I was also a bit confused with I couldn't decide whether, for example, whether the father was like had goodness in him or not, whether the brother also, it was a bit, confusing because it seemed that he wasn't good, and then he'd have a soft spot for Adam. So that was throughout the story. I felt the characters kept trying to you'd see glimpses of wanting not to be evil. um and like Dana said, I felt that this was because when I was reading the book, I was trying to see how is this related to the course, or how this is related to what we're doing. And I kept saying that it maybe it's for me, it was like Dana said, that you have the choice. It's not because you don't inherit in the story, you don't inherit evilness, or you don't inherit um your your family's sins. So I think for us, that's really, you make your own choices. You don't have to how you react, um how you see things. It's a choice. It's not that you need to stop and decide how you want to handle things.
Okay, yeah. Um,
I think
the
I think for this letter specifically, I mean, have we who of us has never written something, a message or something, and then erased it? Changed their mind that they don't want the person they're sending it to read it after all. That's how I interpreted this. He always put on such a really strong, tough exterior. And a lot of us also have a hard time expressing ourselves in person. Many of us are better expressed in writing, mainly because you don't have to face the person I think you're speaking to. There's more freedom in writing. There's less fear of rejection, less fear of being interrupted. So you feel like you can just really just let your feelings flow on paper. And maybe that's what he was doing, and then just backed out last minute. Like he just felt like, no, I'm not maybe very comfortable revealing that
But
part
why
of
did you stand it out?
Sorry?
Why was it stand out? I mean, like, he explicitly said that he will not send this one out, and then he will express himself more freely, knowing that this one is not being sent to. And then it was, and Adam kept, and they never discussed it again. Like, it wasn't mentioned in the book again. Although he said this is an important letter, and I will keep it because like this is key. And then it was not mentioned ever again, even between the brother when he went back. So that's why I was wondering, like,
I mean, some things are always, I guess, always, you know, if every single question is answered in a book, then, what's left for you to think about, right? So just something for us to think about. Um, but it could be like also, when I don't know, for me, it just felt like maybe it was something then after the communication happened sort of silently, then maybe there was no need
no need.
to
Yeah.
have a
Okay.
discussion about it. Yeah.
About Kathy. Why do you guys think she was just the person she is? Like I tried, like I mean, her parents seems nice. I mean, it wasn't like why was she the way she is? I have no idea. So I mean, like, so he was saying, like, I mean, the opening of the chapter was about like how people are born, you know, like with missing an organ or like I mean like something is like there, but like he that's his introduction, and then he said she was born like that. I mean,
She was born evil, I think.
but I don't believe that. I can't believe it. No, I don't. I mean, like,
I think she
even if
I think she was the example of that you can, you know how also in like psychology there's always the argument between nature and nurture. Like if you take two brothers in the same family and you bring them up in exactly the same way and teach them in exactly the same way, um twins, I mean, sorry, if you have twins, right? So who are genetically identical, and they've done studies on this. Identical twins, so in terms of physical attributes, genetic predisposition, everything is equal. And you put them in the same environment, and sorry, two different environments. Sorry, I'm like just two different environments. Um, Even though they're genetically the same, they found differences in terms of the diseases that the twins might have, difference in temperament. So I think, and that's the argument between like, so what determines whether it's your personality, whether it's your illness, what determines it? Is it nature, which is basically the way you're born and your genetics, or is it nurture, which is your environment? So I think what he's trying to say that some people can be born literally evil, sick. It's a sickness, like the same way that some people are just born really good. And then in both instances, your environment can shape you either way, either to keep you that way, or it might show you opportunities where you can change. And she had lots of opportunities to change. She was married to somebody who was nothing but pure. If she was the epitome of evil, he was the epitome of kindness. Like she had a million examples and opportunities to come back from her evil nature, and she chose not to. So I think what he's showing us is that you can have pure evil, natural, just like you can have pure natural kindness and goodness, but that still doesn't guarantee that you're going to stay that way. What decides if you're going to stay either evil or kind is your environment and your choice. And she
yeah,
chooses. She chooses to stay evil.
she sure did. Yeah.
She chooses to be the worst kind of evil. Like I don't think I've ever come across such an evil character in literature. I don't think. Horrible.
But I mean, there was something. I mean, I wonder why. For example, he said that people would actually stop and look at her, and then they will back off. I wonder what they saw. I mean, what made them
Soul. They saw her
uncomfortable.
soul. They saw her soul. You've never like been around somebody and felt uncomfortable. There's an energy there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is. I mean, like, yeah, but he said something about how they wanted to, like, they were attracted to her and they wanted to come closer, and then they would go away. So
Because
I was
physically she was stunning, apparently. Physically she was beautiful, right? But and this is, not to be, so you shouldn't be deceived by beauty. That's another message. She was so beautiful, but as soon as you got up close to her, that evil soul was just coming out just through her pores.
yeah.
Everybody except Adam, obviously.
But I mean, that's another thing. He refused to see it.
Yeah.
And actually, to be very honest, I did not like the character of Adam. It was super annoying for me. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it was. I mean, a lot of characters here, like he showed that how a person can, like be in his own bubble, and how you would refuse to see things. I know that like Adam was supposed to be like an A character, like a good like a good person. Yes, Dina, she has a negative energy, definitely.
Beyond, no, I mean, negative energy is one thing. Kathy energy was a whole other thing, I'm sure.
But
Devil energy.
you know, like I mean, like even with Kathy, coming back to Kathy, I think I know she is like portrayed in a really dark way, but I mean, we do have a Kathy in all of us. Like I mean, and again, it's a choice, but I do believe that you have that in you. You know, like you know how, for example, you can use the person's weakness in front of you, or you know, like just ignoring someone's feeling. I mean, like things that we all do is a little bit of Kathy. Of course, I know it's just being dramatic in the novel and like how she's characterized. It's like, you know, like is emphasizing of how bad she is. But I mean, that's another thing that maybe when people used to look at her and then they moved away, maybe they saw something in themselves too. Like, I mean, could be
Could be.
that they. Again, yeah, Adam. I don't know. Did you guys like Adam in general? I don't know.
Lamia.
I don't.
Yes, I just wanted to say something about why Kathy, they like stated that she was like um everybody looks at her while she's walking through and things like that. It's because m- most of us, we kind of like look at evil as something that looks bad, you know, like how we picture Satan, that he's like with horns and red face and ugly hair and things like that. So we all perceive evil to look like this, and when actually most of the evil that we meet in our lives is pretty much very subtle and very might look as kind as well sometimes. So as much as it may look pretty to you, you need to look deeper, and that's why everybody, even if they attempt to see Kathy through, they see the vibe really coming out. So
Yeah.
that's part about Kathy. And Sandra, I have the same idea that you have about Adam, okay? Because when you're handling this very naive person, okay, and that he's expecting everything to be like a utopian life, all right? And that's very frustrating when you become more realistically attached to the world. Like you understand how the world works and you know that everything comes in shades of gray, nothing comes in black and white. So that's why Adam is a very frustrating character to me. So I have a sense that he's like, nobody is this nice, this doesn't come really, this is not true, or it cannot be that true. So that's why Adam is like, I feel like he's not my real person. He's not a real person to me, like there's nobody like that.
But
And
I think that for me, he's a very real person. He's a very real person who learned a very hard lesson. And
He did.
he didn't stay that way, right? This is why for me he's so real, because he learned the lesson the hard way and made a choice, which is what this book is all about. He
Yeah.
didn't completely erase his character, so he didn't go from being kind to being evil, but he woke up, right? He can't be evil. Like even when he went to confront her, it's not in his nature to be evil, but at least he became more realistic and he learned the lesson and he woke up to being a better father than his father was. And he woke up to, evolving within himself. So I think Adam was a real human being in that I mean, there's several other characters who sort of evolve also and like make mistakes and learn from their mistakes. He's definitely annoying and frustrating at the beginning, and
Yes.
definitely okay, but I think he redeems himself because he wakes up from that, or he gets woken up from that, but a lot of people will have an opportunity to be woken up from something and not take it and continue to stay in their delusion. He had that opportunity to be woken up. He accepted it and he went on to transform his life and to transform the lives of his kids. Otherwise, they would have stayed, as orphans, neglected orphans. So I think as an example of human evolution, I think he was a great example of that, of somebody who actually makes a very conscious decision to change how the trajectory of his life is going to look like.
Yeah, probably I didn't get to his change yet in this
Oh,
part.
okay. Oops.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's why I'm still frustrated.
Yeah. No, he stays frustrating for a while, Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like he learns, and as all of us are learning, when I think you said something, when you see reality as it is, you can't be so naive. But at some point you had to be naive and then learn from that so that you can see reality for what it is. And that's what he does without really giving up his true essence. So he stays true to himself that he's a good, kind person. He doesn't because he could have with what she did. Do you know what she did to him? We don't want to ruin the story for
Yeah.
the ladies who haven't read it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that she betrayed him, but I haven't got to I've read the summary first and then I went through the story. So that's why he got me frustrated because I felt so sorry for him when I started with the summary. And then when I started reading the details, I thought, okay, you're too naive. You've got that to yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean,
Um,
like for me, actually, Dana, he stays the same way. He's still like even towards the end. I don't think he actually learned. Like, I mean, um, he got too attached to Kathy. He doesn't know anything about her. I don't think he even knows her last name. But I mean, like he got too attached to her in such a short time. And when she shot him and she left him, I mean, he remained he still loved her. And even when he went to see her, I mean, that's another part that I want to know what you guys think about. Like, I mean, when he saw her and he was describing how he was looking at her ankles or her figure, and the way after that, the second time he went when he confronted her, that was all good. But and then again, when she died, he had a stroke, which means he didn't change at all. I mean, like he was still,
no, I think it
connected.
means he was still a good person at heart. He's still a good, like I don't think he was ever going to take her back. I don't think he was ever going to um I think he accepted his mistakes and made peace with his mistakes and made peace with her. But I mean, love, right? He loved her. He
Why?
he
He doesn't even know her.
he didn't have to know her. I mean, there is such a thing as love at first sight, right? There is such a thing as falling in love. It doesn't have to take months and months and months for somebody, in my opinion, right, to fall in love with someone. So he just loved her,
Or
and that part of him, as angry as he was, as much as he might have also hated her, but I guess he couldn't undo the love part, which was because the love is connected to his kindness and his goodness. And he couldn't get himself to hate her. I don't know. I didn't feel like this was
a weakness on his part.
No, I didn't feel like it was a weakness. I felt like because he truly fell in love. Like he didn't pretend. He wasn't, there was no evil intention in what he was doing. He literally he just fell in love with her. He just wanted to create this beautiful life with her. Got the shock of his life, obviously. So he learned from that lesson. But I think that really pure peace inside him, when I say I felt like he changed, but he kept that really pure part. And it's that pure part that responded to her death. Like you might learn a lesson, you might even never talk to somebody again, you know, you might really, really hold a grudge against someone. But if you hear that that person has passed, And if you're a really good person inside, you're still going to be upset. I think, right? Even in real life, like even for us, like if there's somebody you really don't like and you just don't want to hear about them, and maybe they've done something, they've wronged you in some way, but when you hear they've passed, I think it would take a really, really callous person to not have any reaction to somebody
But
passing.
but I think like even with Abra and Aaron, I mean what she said, that's what I feel about Adam and Kathy. Like Aaron didn't love Abra. He didn't see her.
Yeah.
It was just like an idea of her, and then he put her face to it. So that's why I feel like Adam did not like, I mean, he did not change, um he did not mature, you know. I mean, like Abra, like I mean, like when she described how he was like when Aaron was writing letters to her and things like that, like it wasn't addressed to her. It was addressed to himself.
Hmm.
So that's how I feel about Adam too. He was just, you know, like living in his own world. He didn't look out. Even I mean at the beginning of the story, he was portrayed as a wanderer, and he was like, you know, like moving around and meeting and going to new places. And then for some reason, the second part of the novel, he stayed where he is in California, and he didn't actually move. He doesn't meet anyone. Like I mean, he almost like stayed at home. And I mean, like so basically, he's living more and more in his own head. That's how I feel about him.
So you felt like Aaron was basically just the next generation of Adam repeating.
I believe yes. Even with the relationship between the father and son, like Adam's father, how he stressed him out about going to the army and becoming a
Yeah.
soldier. Then again, Adam did the same thing to his son.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like, I mean, Adam was not learning from his mistakes at all. Like, I mean, it wasn't a mistake, but he wasn't learning. He wasn't even looking. And he did to Cal exactly what the other father did to Charles. So I believe like that's my opinion. But I mean, like Adam was so selfish. I mean, he didn't even care. Even when he bonded with the boy, with Cal, he didn't maintain that relationship. I don't know what causes jealousy between a brother and you know brothers, but I mean, obviously throughout the story, it's like the father who's his like, or the parents are important here, because the boys were really good to each other, both of like, and then when the parents they started to treat kids differently, that's when you know like things happened the way it did. I don't know, but I did not like Adam though. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you guys got to that part or not about Aaron when he we're jumping like parts, I know, but did you guys get to the part when Aaron met his mom? I don't know. I don't know if I'm spoiling the story or not, but did you guys get to that part? Rania, I know you said not yet because that was like towards the very, very, very end, like 20 pages and before the book ends. And that's another thing. Like he took us so long to like, you know, like, and then things happened in the last 40 pages. But anyways, okay, so I guess I won't talk about that part since you guys did not read it. Another thing that I liked was the encounter between Adam and Kathy. When Charles died, he left the inheritance to be split between both. I have no idea why he would do that. I don't have an answer to that question. Why would his brother leave the inheritance for both when he didn't like Kathy?
They had because
I don't know why.
they had an affair.
It wasn't an affair. It was just a one night stand. But I mean, like, I mean, like, why would he leave her
I
half
think it
his
was
money?
more than one night. I think it was more than one night. It was
No, it was one night, and then the next day they left.
no, I feel like it was
I don't
longer
know. I don't
than
know.
that.
Maybe I missed that part.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
yeah. But they
But he
had
didn't like her.
whether it was one night or more, they had, they had a connection. They were both evil-ish. I don't think Charles was,
Yes,
but
I don't think Charles was
they had an
evil, no.
understanding of each one's reality. Like he got her. He saw through her, and she appreciated that. And he, at some level, I think he was definitely attracted to her. So I wasn't surprised when
I
he,
don't know.
and then you never know, he might have
I
suspected
think
that the boys were his boys.
he doesn't even know about the boys.
I'm sure he found out about the boys at some point.
I don't know. I mean, it's not mentioned in the book. I don't know. I mean, like they didn't write to each other for 10 years. So he didn't, I mean, like we don't know anything about
It
Charles
could have been
after he left.
a final, slap to Adam, you know?
I think it is. I think it was, and I think it's the same thing that Kathy did for like when she left the money for Aaron and not split it with Cal because
Yeah,
she wanted to punish Cal.
yeah.
But the encounter with Adam and Kathy, I like that part because he was talking about when she was showing him the all the pictures that she wanted to blackmail important people in the like in California and all that. And then he said something to her. He told her, I think that you don't like the good that you see in them because she wanted to prove that everyone is evil.
Mm.
And when any like I mean like again we all have two parts. We have the good and the bad. But I think she wanted to really see the bad and she didn't want to see the good. And that's what frustrated her. Like even like Adam was saying, like these people, yes, they came here and they made the mistake and all that. But sometimes, like they are doing good outside. I mean, like you just want to hold on to the bad. That's what he said to her. So and I like that part because
Yeah. But that makes her feel better.
that's what makes feel her bad. But I mean, sometimes we even do that mistake. I believe when we say, "Oh, it's too good to be true," it's because also we're looking for something bad, and like like it makes us feel like, okay, yeah, now it's not all good. Okay, I feel better now. Like you know what I mean? Like
Makes
we
you
look
feel
for
better
something
about
either
makes you feel better about your own weakness, your own evil. It just almost
yes, that's what I
justifies it.
felt.
Yeah. It definitely,
So
definitely.
what character did you like?
Sorry?
What was your favorite character? So many characters in the book. I mean, like,
For me,
which one was your
so
favorite?
Sonia, go ahead.
no, for me it was Adam. I liked, even though he's like, I felt he was a bit too kind, but I liked his character. I liked his character very much. Which very much. I liked his
Adam? You
character
like
in
Adam?
general. Yeah, yeah.
What about Lee? What do you guys think of Lee?
I liked both Lee and Adam. I mean Adam because of his kind heart. I don't know what the right word is. He does not think bad of other people. I mean, it's his pure, let's say, it's his pure kind heart. And Lee I liked because he was helpful in every situation, and he gave advice to everyone. And at the very end, well, Rania has not yet read it, but at the very end, he he pushed Adam to forgive his son.
Okay. Mm,
He was very, very loyal. The
Yes.
mm,
epitome of loyalty for me. Yeah.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
Lee, we don't know anything about him. Kathy, you kind of saw, some parts of her emotions, even if all negative, but like you saw something. Yeah, Charles, Cal, Aaron, everyone, we saw their a little bit of their emotion, but Lee, not so much. That's what I felt. Uh, like what he felt, it was more portrayed of how he thought, how intellectual he is, but not so much on the feeling. I mean, again, in this novel, he's saying like we have the good and bad and all this, but with Lee, it wasn't portrayed in this way. He took a different approach when he was describing that character. Did you guys sense that?
I mean, it could be if you're trying to sort of gauge the era that this was written in. I mean, he was Chinese, and nobody was very deeply invested or interested in them at the time. It was just very shallow. Like
Yeah.
the interactions with them were very shallow. Um, because there was racism at the time, obviously. So this might have been intentional, like just not to go too far beneath, like what you see is what you get, and not to go too far into that because that was a characteristic of the time, is not to do that. The Chinese were just seen as labor, and that's it. You wouldn't get
Yeah.
to know their history too much. You wouldn't get to know their personalities or their characters or their flaws, or their, internal challenges too much because nobody was really interested.
But
I
he
mean,
was an important person. Like he was an important character in the story.
yeah. Um, but maybe we didn't need to know more than that when it came to him. He was very straightforward.
Mm. An interesting part. Did you guys notice that the author put himself in the story? You notice that part?
Yeah.
Rania, that
Yes.
was I think you read that part. Yeah, you notice, Marianne?
Oh, yes, I have. And um, at first, I thought it was a real story of John and his family, but then afterwards, I found out no, it's not. It's not his story. I mean, uh, it's not the story of his family, and I liked the way he wrote about it.
I think Samuel is his grandfather. That's a real like like Hamilton is his mother's family.
Yes.
So I don't know how many facts, true facts are there in the story, but I know I read that he was criticized actually for putting the part about his mom and how she got on the plane and all that, because the critics, they felt like, like it's just didn't feel like part of the story. He just like, like it felt uh, pushed in, so that's what they thought. Although I actually like that part very much, because it was it did had a different tone than the rest of the story, but I liked it. It felt more personal. That's
Mm.
why I liked it.
Yeah.
And another thing, did you guys like? Of course, you know this. Like the number of people and the death in the story and how some people chose to end their lives. I mean, Tom and they weren't sure about Una if she took her own life or not. But a lot of these characters, like they were there in the story, and I wonder. I mean, like for example, Tom, he came from a happy home. For example, I mean, like they were poor, but they were happy. They all talked about how the father and the mother and how all the siblings together and the laughter and the inventions. And I wonder what makes like there were 9 kids, as Marianne was saying. I mean, like there were 9 kids and they were completely different. And they although they were in a happy home, I mean, like why did this happen? I'm just wondering as a parent, like of course, this is extremely scary, but I mean, so why did it happen and how, I don't know. Why did it happen
Why did what happen?
that they chose to end their lives?
Oh,
I mean, because sometimes you say, like, you feel like they weren't giving much attention. They were like, like they went through tough things in life and all that. But I mean, like with Tom, for example, I know he felt really bad about his sister, but Tom was like portrayed in a way that, like he was down. He couldn't, like something was happening with Tom that I don't even think the author knew how to portray it. I mean, like no one really described how this character was feeling. They loved him and he was loved even as an adult, like when he described him as an uncle. But something was like, like that character, I felt bad for him actually. I liked him and I was confused like what's happening inside of him. So maybe you guys noticed something I missed. I don't know.
I felt like he was just depressed, just a depressive character from early on, somebody who battled depression.
Hmm.
But maybe at the time there was no name for it. There was no understanding
Yeah.
of it. There was no, I mean, it was just sort of the kind of society and in their, in their field of farming and everything, there's no time. It's a luxury to be depressed. So nobody's going to spend time with it. If you feel bad about something, you just get up and you just, do what you need to do. You don't focus on these things. But I think that was his issue for whatever reason. He was a depressed person. And then a very loving, kind, devoted uh, sibling with huge tendency for depression, which might automatically already put him at a tendency for suicide, but then he blamed himself for his sister's death. That's the way
Yeah.
I saw Tom. Yeah, like
Yeah,
just
it could be depression. You're right.
yeah. The one of the characters that I loved was the mom, Lizzie,
Oh, Lisa.
Liza, Lizzie.
I don't know. I think
I think
I
I
don't know.
think she reminded me of my mother. Like she's just gonna go to somebody's house. If it's a mess, she's gonna clean it up like the Energizer Bunny. Like she's got 9 kids. She doesn't have time, for silliness. She doesn't have time for anything except making sure the house is clean, because I'm one of 6 kids. So literally this woman is like my mother. There's no time except to like cook, clean, take care of the kids, and then she does everything she needs to do at home, and then she'll come over to my house or my sister's house and then clean all of our houses and do everything that needs to be done there. Like it's just no nonsense. And then she leaves this house and goes to the next house and takes care of that house, cooking, cleaning. So I was like, oh wow, okay. So I see where this comes from, this character.
Yeah, she was reliable too.
Very
Like when they
reliable.
went,
Very
yeah.
reliable. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I think he asked the question in the middle, like how they wonder how that Lisa and Samuel they were together, and like the contrast between the character of Samuel the dreamer, and like a storyteller, and so fun and loving and all that. And then Lisa was just like, like the practical one,
Yeah.
and so strict and all that. So I mean, like, there was a question, like, how could this relation be, like how things were. But I believe, like, he needed her.
Yeah. Like opposites attract.
But I mean, like, you can tell from the story, like, she wasn't his first choice. Like, I feel that he had his own story at the beginning. I don't know what happened to it. And then Lisa came, and you almost like, like, yeah, they like, he needed that character to just ground him a little bit. And I liked her. She was practical.
Yeah.
But it might be difficult for her. I don't know if she's always like that. That must be so difficult.
She never showed. She never showed. She never.
Well, I mean, like, towards the end of her life, when they described how she took on like drinking and like loosening up, like, eventually it did happen.
I think when she could afford to, but I think when, when her family was young, the kids were young, she had all of these tasks to do on a regular basis. I don't think she allowed herself to complain. She didn't allow herself, um, self-care. I mean, she's also very religious, right? They mentioned that a
Yeah.
lot. So that was a big driving force for her also.
The thing when they asked the kids, when they asked their father and mother to come and live with them, and then they would rotate houses. I find it like it was actually sweet, but I don't know why. Like, I mean, well, Samuel, he knew what was happening, and he decided that that's it. This is how he would die. I wonder why he did it. Like, why not just remain on the farm and just like enjoy it as is? I don't know. And why did he decide to die? I mean, like, he is a dreamer, and why not like use the time to just travel and see different places? Why did he decide that this is his death? And how did, like, and it was really his death? I don't know, like, is it like him coming out of his comfort zone? Then I don't know, why did he do it? Two questions. It's two separate questions, but I don't know why he did it. Another thing that caught my attention.
I think in the end he knew what mattered the most to him, which was his kids. If he was if his time was really coming up, if his time was limited, I think he realized that really what's going to matter the most would be to spend that time with his children. I think it was very,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. For me, because I've been wanting to read this book for so long. Um, and I get the bigger themes in there of good and evil and love and identity and redeeming yourself and all of this, but honestly, this was just like one big soap opera to me, this book.
Yeah.
It was those of you who are still reading or like I can see this being turned into, 6 seasons of something of a
There
series.
is a movie.
There's a movie?
An old one.
Really?
Mm.
I'm gonna go watch it because it's quite theatrical.
I liked, actually, the one of the characters that I really liked was Daffy. I think, I don't know how it's said. One of the sisters, the happy one, and how she attracted happiness. I like the part when they were saying, like, there's one family, when the father knew, like, when the mom, she said, I'm going to that like hairdresser. What was she? Sorry, she was that, like, that. Yeah. When she said, like, she was going there, how the kids actually mood shifted and the dad mood shifted because they knew their mom will have a good time there, and then she will come home happy, and they will have a great lunch, and it would taste great. and then it would last with them 2 days, and then their mom will say she has the headaches again, and then
Yeah.
and so on until she goes again. I like that story. It's I like how, you know,
The-
like of people that have that effect on us, and how we want to get attached to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was it's nice to be able to do that, to you know, like how you like, I'm sure that's if you didn't know how she's affecting a whole household, you know, like with the dad and his, even his work, you know, like she was affecting so many people in a positive way. That was nice.
She was able to uplift women.
Yes.
Yeah. Or it could be, you know, just the equivalent of modern day retail therapy. Go, going to the shops.
I think it was more than shopping. I mean, like they didn't
Well,
even care
yeah.
about the dressing.
Yeah, and they said that. They said that her dress, that her shop was more than just going in and getting a dress, you know, and she turned it into a whole experience for the women that went there, definitely.
The other story that I did not like, or I mean, like I'm choosing to block out with because how terrible it is. Lee's mother and father. That was like heartbreaking for me. I mean, I'm trying to, you know, like, oh, I didn't understand it, you know, like, and then I was like, no, I understand it fully well, and it's really bad. I did not like that one. But like he did say something important in that, and like how it was awful. But I mean, his dad needed to tell him the truth about what happened, because it would be less devastating than actually, you know, like living a lie and then finding out later on.
Yeah.
And that was important, actually. I wish I was even like I wish Adam would tell his kids that, you know, like even when he found out that Cal knew about the mom, I was wishing that Adam, you know, like would tell Aaron, and even if it would take him some time to adapt or something, it wasn't too late, because, you know, like he was 17 or something. I mean, like, so he was old enough to take it, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I mean, of course it would have been easier to tell the kids when they were young,
Yeah.
but if he wasn't, you know, like in his right mind to do it, and he wasn't prepared. I mean, later on when Cal opened the subject and he spoke about his mom, that was something that Adam, I felt he needed to do with for Aaron. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't believe that Cal did kill his brother. I mean, sorry, Rania. He did not. He did not. But I mean, like he felt that he did. But I don't think, like, I mean, like I don't blame Cal in this, actually. Yes, he did something mean, which he did take. I don't. I sorry, Rania. I don't know what to say.
So I think it's
Do I
Rania and
talk?
it's ML. So it's
It's
they're gonna
okay.
have
It's
to be
okay.
different.
It's like, even if I hear it, it's okay. It's going to be more interesting reading. It's okay. Don't worry.
Because like when he took his brother to see the mom, I know it wasn't coming out of a good place. But I mean, yes, that was a mistake, and that was mean and all that. But I mean, like the reaction, Aaron's reaction, it's not Cal's fault. I mean, it's actually Adam's fault. This is how I feel, and Aaron's as well. But I mean, partially it is Adam, because he decided not to tell the son, because he was trying for some reason to protect him, knowing that he's more fragile and all this. But I mean, if he knew, nothing would have, you know, like a power over him, you know, like that kind of thing, like the dramatic things that he did wouldn't have happened. I don't know. I felt, you know, like if he knew about her, which of course Aaron as well is at fault. I mean, like he knew she did exist. He just chose not to. It was easier for him to make her die in his head, instead of knowing that his father is lying to him. But anyways, I felt like, I mean, Adam was at, you know, like is to blame as well here.
But he also didn't
Um,
tell Cal, and Cal went and discovered it.
which that's what I'm saying. It's like it
And
would have happened
he
eventually.
didn't have that reaction. Like you said, you get to choose. There's the
You do
choice.
get to choose, but
You get to choose how
they
you're
are
going to
different
react.
characters.
Yeah.
I mean, like as you said, I mean, they are twins. They lived in the same house. They they were exposed to Adam being absent. Like I mean, physically he was there, but he was not present. The same things happened to them, but they are completely different. And it was portrayed when they were talking about the anthill. Um, I didn't fully describe it. I mean, like, but they were saying like how they looked at things different. Uh, so yeah, like things would have been, like as Lee was saying. I mean, you hurt, but with like knowing the truth, but it's less hurtful. I liked Abra, not at the beginning, like when she
Not at the beginning, and I thought she was a
another Kathy.
for a good portion of her relationship, I thought she was lying. I thought she was tricking him. I kept waiting for something to
Yeah,
happen where she's gonna reveal herself or the truth is gonna come out. Like I didn't believe that she before she sort of discovered that he wasn't writing to her, like that before she discovered his truth, I did not believe that she was actually being honest with him. I was surprised her story kept developing. Um, and I don't know why. I don't know. He definitely created her as deceptive initially.
initially when they were kids.
Yeah.
And no, it's because the story when they were kids and they were like at the ranch and she was manipulative with Adam,
Yes.
like like how would you like this and that. So that's why you didn't like her at the beginning.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, like that's why he was saying you have the choice. Like growing up, she didn't follow that pattern.
No, no, she didn't. But it took time to believe her. It took time for me to like regain my confidence in her.
I actually liked her, like when they like I mean when they went to Selena's. I mean, I don't know why they went anyways. That was another question. I mean, like he did not like Abra's parents, and yet he took their advice. But I don't know why. I mean, he was sitting there and then he listened to them. He did not like them, and then he started to zone out on them, and then eventually he took their advice. I don't know why.
I don't know either.
It's one of the things.
It's
Uh,
you know, it's how human beings are just so complex. There's not necessarily always a clear, white and black answer or white and black explanation. There's more gray usually than white and black, especially if you take a character that's um con, troubled or internal. There's a lot of internal turmoil as they're trying to make sense of themselves, make sense of their surroundings. There's going to be a lot of questions, and he leaves a lot of it. Obviously, the author leaves a lot of this open to interpretation.
yeah, a lot of things are yeah, for me they were not, like they're not clear, or I mean, maybe if you think about it, you already know the answer, but there are so many things like that.
Yeah.
um about like how they like Abra, she took all Aaron's letters and she decided to burn them. I was actually um So I was actually surprised by her reaction when she learned that he died. Was actually no reaction whatsoever. She didn't like she didn't say anything.
Maybe he was
Even Cal,
maybe he was already dead to her.
maybe you're right.
Potentially already
Um,
dead to her when she discovered that, it was he's writing to a ghost.
yeah, The other thing was like Aaron, how he, for me, I would say he was on his high horse, like becoming so religious, and how he tried to change people and how he looked them. And actually, it was more harmful than good to others and to himself. I mean, because like when we read in Feminine Genius, she was saying, like she went through things because and it did her good. So when she talked with other people, it wasn't like she was talking, like being on her high horse, like she was actually feeling the things that's happening to others. And that's the same thing with Aaron, like because again, as Adam, he lived in his own head. He actually didn't use and like his spiritual, which is something that we all do, but I mean, not all. I'll talk about myself. Like how you think you're becoming more spiritual, but you actually how do I say, like you're hiding, like it's something that I cannot describe. It's just you're not being true, which other people can see, which actually like يعني makes them, like you push them away even further, other than, like rather than just inviting them to, like to come closer to you, you know what I mean? It's a little bit confusing, but I feel like if you're spiritually, you're doing it in the right way. It's like dancing, like when it will happen like in a nice way, it will actually attract more people. When it's done in like, like being self-absorbed like that, you push people away and you're not becoming real to yourself or to others. That's what I want to say.
But he also kind of pushed, I mean, he sort of said, I want to be alone all the time. I don't want to be with anyone. Like he also said it.
It's because what he said is he was trying to look for a pure city to live in, which doesn't exist.
Right. So he's basically saying, I'm the only one who's pure, and none of you are pure. So I have to go find another place that has pure people. So he was basically condescending to everybody around him.
So that's why I'm saying he was living in his head. It wasn't real. I mean, like being spiritual is not, like it's not about actually being good at all. I mean, we're all like, like we all have the good and bad, and being spiritual is actually knowing that you are like you have both, and like having a relationship with God. I mean, it shouldn't, it has nothing to do with, like being in yourself, you know what I mean? I don't improvising.
Yeah. Well, in the end, he got to go. He died. He got to go and live with the pure, technically, the pure place. In theory.
Yeah, I didn't want that end for him, to be honest, but yeah. The author chose that ending. Yeah. Adam rejecting Cal's gift. Like at the beginning they were talking about how the dad chose the puppy over the pocket knife, and Charles was like, why did this happen, and why did he refuse my gift? We didn't get an answer, so it's up to us to decide why actually the dad refused the pocket knife. And still with with Adam, because it was money. So yes, we are like, like as a parent, you wouldn't accept money from your kids, and it was a big sum. So it was easier for me to understand like why Adam rejected the gift. But I mean, I wish, because he knew how things, like how Charles felt about that gift being not accepted and not appreciated. I wish he would have noticed that, he did try to say, I appreciate you doing it. I don't want the gift, but I mean, he was, like, say it more, like, mean it, take him and just, be more obvious about it, but yeah, I mean, I don't know why the dad refused the pocket. I mean, I think I can guess why, but I mean, it wasn't there. It was left to us to understand why he refused the pocket knife. Why do you think?
I mean, their father was he wasn't such a straightforward man, I think. And not very evolved. I don't think he understood the implications that on his children. I think he was very much just like, a warrior. Everything to him was just black and white. And I don't think it's something that he even thought would make a difference. But I think Adam should have known better. Like, I think definitely this is something that Adam, if he had just gone back in history of, this is something this is something he repeated. This was a
Yeah.
generational mistake that he repeated that, then created another rift between another set of brothers. So he definitely had the option not to. He could have taken the money. I don't personally see why there should have been a problem taking the money. It didn't make any sense to me why he didn't.
I think he didn't like the idea of how he got the money. He got it off the back of, like he used the war,
Right,
to
but at the
his
end of
benefit.
the day, he's a teenager. He's not, an adult, and his intention was to help his father. So I think one of for me, that was one of his big mistakes. Adam's big mistakes was
Mm.
shunning his son that way, not thinking it through, potentially thinking of the repercussions of that. Um, that put into motion, the series of events, basically. Because of that, I believe, at the end, his son died.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying he's at blame as well. I mean, like, with not telling the truth and repeating history again. Like
Yeah,
something that we.
he did make that mistake again. He did repeat that mistake. Honeyhead.
I,
Um,
Hi, Dana. Hi, Sarah. How are you? I'm walking home from work. That's why it's quite noisy around me, because I finish work at 1:30. So I hope to catch at least the last half hour at home. Okay, I'll mute myself until I get home.
we actually
Okay.
can't hear anything. We actually can't hear anything except you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool then.
Yeah.
Okay, then well, I really like this story, East of Eden. I haven't read all of it yet, but I found myself liking the story right from the beginning, unlike the awakening.
Okay.
I couldn't understand the awakening at all. It confused me somehow. I've never picked up a book where I could not understand the story, even though I'd read about 40 or 50 pages. But with East Eden, it was different. So I'm hoping to continue reading it parallel with Tess.
How far
Yeah.
have you gotten? How far have you gotten?
With the Tess?
No, with the East of Eden.
Oh, I don't know, but I'm not even a quarter of the way through actually, because I haven't been reading regularly the last week. So, but I'm gonna finish it because I like it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay. Well, did you have a favorite character?
Well, so far, I'm feeling actually for Adam. I'm feeling sorry for him somehow, because he's like a really weak character,
and he's being kind of bossed around,
Mm.
first by his father, and then Salam alaikum was like, sorry, I just have to let the driver up with me. صعبان عليا يعني. I feel that he has not made any choices of his own. Even when he decided to go back to the army, it was because he found himself not good at doing anything else.
Mm.
So I don't know if I'm right or wrong, because you've read further than I have, but this was my conclusion so far. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
Yes, and
Hello?
yes,
Am
Nihad, we can
I
hear you.
on the right track ولا am I on the right track ولا مش قوي؟
لا, we're all like, I mean, we all have different opinions of Adam, but I mean,
But I think where you've reached, that's pretty correct so far.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means I am understanding what I'm reading so far. This is a good sign. I have yet to discover about what you are saying about my guess.
Then maybe
Have you?
finish the book before you go and watch the replay.
Okay.
For today.
Hi, خلاص. That's
Yeah.
a good
Yeah,
idea.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of spoilers.
Yeah. And
Okay.
just a general, just general observation for all of you ladies there. You're saying, I hope I'm understanding it right. You get to understand it whichever way you want to understand it. Everybody's going to interpret it and feel it differently. So
Okay.
there's absolutely nothing that says we all have to understand the characters the same way or relate to them in the same way
Uh-huh.
or
Okay.
feel for them the same way, or understand a book in the same way. But don't ever feel like there's a kind of pressure to do to what we're doing in the book club in a certain way. There isn't. It is about
Okay.
exactly tapping into, right away what your intuition tells you about a book, about a character. You might follow that intuition a little bit, maybe dig into that to see why you're feeling that way. But don't ever feel like there's a right or wrong way to do this at all.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, we talked a lot about all, the ending and the meaning and all of that. So don't watch today until
No, I
the ladies here
won't then.
haven't finished it either.
I'll
But
read the rest of the book first, and then I'll
yeah,
watch the
yeah,
recording. Okay.
yeah. I was very happy to feel like it was one of those books where I kept wanting a page turner, you just kept wanting to see what's happening next, what's going to happen next, what's going to happen next, as long as it was. But yeah, ladies who haven't finished it, highly recommend you finish it. Nihed, unmute yourself if you're saying something.
Okay. Shall I leave or shall I just stay but then continue to read the book?
Well, Sandra was leading the call today, so Sandra, you let
Okay.
her know. Are we
No,
not wrapping up? Or should she stay or should she leave?
no, stay, of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, you read about Kathy, right? You got to know that character.
Kathy, she's just yani I can actually tell you what page I'm on now. I'll get the book and I'll tell you. I'm not even a quarter of the way through. Like, I'm quite at the beginning. You're gonna be shocked when you know what page I'm on.
Don't worry. We don't get shocked here. We don't judge here.
Don't judge me, please.
No judgment.
Okay, let me get my book.
While waiting for Nihad, like, I mean, I'm not gonna say the details, not to spoil it. Like, I felt something when reading, like, one of the characters. I mean, like, she was working and making money and like, and accumulating more and more and more and at the end, and like, I mean, she didn't do anything with it. I mean, nothing at all. I mean, it was miserable, like, and like, and I did, like, I mean, sometimes we feel like, like, my story will be different, and I'll get to do this and that. And then I don't know what happened, but I mean, like she realized that, like maybe she was in so much pain or something, like, but she decided that, like, um since she knows that she's not going to be doing the things that she said she would, but that's it. But I mean, it was sad as well, like, and we do fall into that trap. We think, like, although we know that, like, we'll all eventually have the same ending, but like we all feel like, like we'll live forever, like, you know what I mean?
We all feel
Mm.
like we're immortal. And then,
Yeah.
you feel bad. You felt bad for technically an evil person, right? Like,
Yeah.
so you were saying I don't understand how Adam had a stroke because she was so
So
evil.
I mean,
But
I
but
can
we
I can feel
but we
bad.
felt
I can
bad.
feel bad,
But
not
we
stroke.
felt bad, right? When the evil person also died.
No, but I mean, like, I can cry a little, like, I mean, like, he could have cried, he was, but a stroke, that means, like, it was huge.
Ah, he really loved her. Really, really loved her.
I mean, like, the stroke, I mean, like, he got a stroke 2 times, like, I mean, I understand the second one, but I mean, like, the first one is like, oh, I mean, like, wow, okay. Sorry, Nihad, but no spoilers.
Okay,
No.
I just started chapter 8, which is the first time for me to meet Kathy, but this is
Oh,
at the
okay.
beginning. Yeah, I'm
Oh,
on
okay.
page 79.
Oh, listen, enjoy.
Listen, that's not even a quarter. Not even one, yeah, probably 1/5 or something of the book, yeah.
Don't worry about it. Enjoy it.
Enjoy meeting Kathy.
Okay. Sounds like a fun person.
Oh,
Okay. But
Anyone else?
what I was surprised by how his name is Charlie, the other brother, صح? Charlie ولا اسمه Charles, how he changed كده. He wasn't so aggressive with his brother anymore. I guess the separation built some kind of a bond between them. Because at the beginning of the story he was always like hurting him and hitting him and doing stuff, but once Adam went to the army and they started corresponding by letters, whenever he saw him again he was a little bit not more pleasant with him, or not so aggressive anyway. It was like a cool relationship, not a brotherly one so much, but حسيت كده ان his feelings changed. He wasn't the bossy guy anymore. Not as much anyway.
Maybe it's because of two things. I mean,
Mm.
I don't think Charles was aggressive. Like, I mean, he wasn't aggressive for the sake of being aggressive. He was trying
jealous.
to,
Mm.
yes, he was trying to gain his father's love. And once at that point, what you're saying, and he was like, the father was actually, he left the farm and he wasn't there anymore. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
there was nothing to work for anymore, like, so
Mm.
he doesn't have anything against his brother. He loved him anyways. I mean, and he was only fighting when the dad, I mean, just to,
So,
uh,
yeah, I know what you're trying to say. I understand what you're trying to say. Yes. Mm.
and the other part is, he's not a teenager anymore. He was
Mm.
growing up. So, I
Yeah.
mean, like, as a teenager, we all have, like, the confusing emotions, a lot of them, and all very high emotions and
Mm.
out of proportion. But I mean, like, he was growing up as well.
Okay.
That's what I think. It's hard being a teenager, to be honest. I don't miss that phase.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. It's even as grown-ups, it's difficult to deal with teenagers. Yeah, and it's not just being a teenager; it's dealing with them.
Yeah, we're
Mm.
dealing with a lot of emotions that are all very high. Tina or Amal or Marianne, anything you guys want to add?
Oh, yes. I came across a summary of the human nature on page 503. Practically at the beginning, it says humans are caught in their lives, in their thoughts, in their hungers and ambitions, in their avarice and cruelty, and in their kindness and generosity too, in a net of good and evil.
Mm.
I like I liked it very much because I mean it's a summary of the human nature, and that we have, let's say, both sides in us of being good uh, and less good. I won't say evil.
Yeah. And then,
So
yeah.
yes, please go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that whole paragraph, and then he basically wraps it up and says, there is no other story. It's this. It's virtue and vice and all
Yes,
the
yes.
variations and throughout history, throughout different intelligence, throughout different ways of feeling and being. This is the story. There is no other
Hmm.
story, he says. Yeah, I also
Yes,
marked that paragraph. Yes. I also like the next page. The last these three pages, 503, 504, and 505, very much for me summarize the gist of this book, the gist of the lessons, and
hmm.
humanity in a nutshell. Those 3 pages, 3.5 pages, 2.5 pages.
It's also a very short chapter. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, it's one chapter, chapter 34. What is the world's story about? Yeah, very true. This is what it's about.
I was thinking of something else. I mean, in a book club, um, wouldn't it be better or easier of doing a chapter per week or two chapters per week?
We would take forever to do that. We
I
would take
know.
forever to do that. And you would really only do that if we were all, academics. Like
Hmm.
English literature academics, you're going to analyze the plot, the story, the characters, the style, the analogies, the metaphors, the history, the criticism, the critique. That would really be the only, and that is a way of doing it for sure. But most people are not into the books that deeply to be able to do
Hmm.
that. Most people, um, we just want to be able to relate to it on a human level, and just share our thoughts and just share what rings true for us, what we can relate to, how it relates to our real life. How does the fiction relate to real life? So, yeah, I think that would be a lot. You might find that you would lose interest also if we did it that way.
It could be, yeah,
Yeah.
certainly.
Amal
Yes,
was
Ina.
saying.
Yes, yes, yes. Great. Thank you, Sandra. Yes, when you finish. But yeah.
No, no, I was saying, Dina was saying that she's halfway through reading the summary and but she didn't want to miss the meeting, so
Amen.
good job.
Yeah.
Oh, Amal,
Yeah.
sorry. Thank you, Amal.
Yeah.
And thank you, Dina. Thank you. I just wish, I mean, like we can, like have more discussion about it. But I mean, like I understand that not everyone has read the book, so I hope we didn't spoil it for for other people.
They'll go through and finish it. It's a great book to read. Um, like definitely if you still haven't finished it, don't feel like we've just had a conversation around it, even if you feel like we spoiled the ending for you. The way it gets to the ending, right? It's the journey to get to the ending that's very interesting and reveals all the different flaws and all the different turmoil of all the characters. And that's what we can all connect to is that journey and the conversations and the inner dialogue and the conflicts. So don't miss out on experiencing that in this book. Um, Sandra, thank you so much for leading
No,
us today.
yeah.
Ladies, she did it, right? And it
Yeah.
was amazing. And she clearly put time and effort into the preparation, obviously, which
I'll
we
show you
greatly
guys like a
appreciate. But oh, I
Well, you know, you have encouraged me to continue reading the book, actually. You've made me curious. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's a good book.
definitely. بس برافو
I
عليك يا
want to,
ساندra. Yeah.
yes, yes.
Hats off
I
to
want,
you, my dear.
go ahead, Nihed, say
when,
that
when you
again.
guys
لا, I'm just saying hats off يا ساندرا فعلا. لا, you did
Yes,
a
yes,
swell
no,
job. Yeah,
thank you.
good for you.
you did.
You're being nice and generous. When you guys finish actually the book, and I mean even those who are not online right now with us, like when you guys get to finish the book, and you feel like like we can have discussion, like on Facebook group, like we can still do it
Of course.
after you guys finish the book
Yeah.
because it's worth it.
It's worth it. 100%. We can keep the conversation going there. And ladies, look to Sandra as the example, right? Tess is the next book. The one after that is what? Season of Migration to the North. It's not hard. She's broken the ice for all of you, right? Volunteer for the next two books. Tess, and I think it's Season of Migration to the North. Um, it I'm sure she was nervous on some level, I'm sure. But even if she was, we didn't see it. And even if we felt it, we didn't judge it. We supported her. We held the space for her. Now she can confidently say that she can lead a group in a book group call. I don't know, maybe she's done it before, I don't know. But no, see? So it's something that, you might feel afraid to do it, not feel confident that, like who am I to lead a discussion around a book? But it's just one of those things where you trust and allow, which is again a very feminine quality. So I highly, highly, highly encourage all of you. I'll put it in the group again. I'm going to encourage you all to volunteer to lead a session on a book call. It was I thoroughly enjoyed today. Thank you, Sandra, so much again, over and over and over again. I hope that you all enjoyed it as well. I want to say that we are next week call on spirituality. I posted the module yesterday. Very simple task this week, which is basically to set your intention for spirituality. It just happens to be Ramadan time and Lent time. Everybody's in a spiritual mode. So and whether we were in the spiritual, time of year or not, setting an intention for spirituality is very important. And it's not like, we'll talk about it next week. It's not complicated. Set a very simple intention for yourself that you can follow through on. And then in 2 weeks, we'll have the next book call. Just a little thing that I find helpful for those of you who might be behind in the reading or want to be able to stay more on track in the reading. What I do with each book is I do a little I have a little masculine tool to help support my feminine activity, which is I literally look at how many pages are in the book. And let's say I'm going to start reading Tess tomorrow. So I have 2 weeks to read Tess. I will open Tess. I will see how many pages Tess is. If you're finding it challenging to put in time on a daily basis, this might be something that helps you. See how many pages Tess is, divide it by 14, which is the number of days it's going to take you to read, and it'll basically tell you how many pages to read per day to complete Tess in 2 weeks, or whichever book. Or if you want to read it faster, so you would double that time and read it in 1 week. This is something that, a tool that I used many, many years ago when I was doing my master's and I needed to read many books and they all had different deadlines. So it just kept me on track and it still helps now. Right now, it took time to get back really deep into my habit of reading, like not just reading a little bit, but really deep into it, where now I'm reading 90 minutes a day very easily, very easily. And if that's something you feel you really want to work yourself up to, then start at least with committing to the number of pages per day so that you can have the book completed. All right. And from there, you're going to see that if it's a book that it just grabs you, you don't want to let go. You'll get to the number of pages and you want to keep going. So that's just something for those of you who might still feel like you want to catch up, you want to be on time for the next one. That's a tip that can help you. All right. Yes, we will wrap this call today. Thank you again, Sandra, so much for volunteering, for taking the time, for being so thorough, for being, what did you do? Like you really got us to think about everything in this book, lots of different points for us to look at. So I'm sure everybody here is very appreciative. I know I am. And we'll keep the conversation going for those of you who are still yet to finish the book, 100%. If you have comments, shares, observations, post them in the group. And then that's it. I will see you ladies all. Yes. Big round of applause for Sandra. Yes, Marianne. And that's it. I will see you ladies again next week, inshallah. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, wherever you are in the world.
You too. Where are you in tomorrow already, Adana, ولا ايه? Did you
Right
start
now,
tomorrow?
not yet. Almost. It's 9:45 p.m. for me.
Okay. Okay.
All right. All right,
How's your
ladies.
daughter? Is she fine? All
Alhamdulillah,
fine?
it's fine.
طبعا.
We're just waiting. It's just, that waiting game at the end. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. إن شاء الله خير. إن شاء
Thank
الله.
you.
Okay. يلا.
All right,
Take care.
ladies.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night.